Welcome to another edition of the Nightly Nugent. Ted, I want to congratulate you and pat myself on the back and really our whole team at Hunter Nation and Hunt the Vote, because I'd like to let our listeners and viewers watch a clip. Basically, I take as a strong compliment, and you should too as well, for our efforts with huntthevote.org.
Wisconsin has a big Senate and gubernatorial race. You spent some time with the conservative group Hunt the Vote. What do they have to say?
Yeah. Well, Andrea, they say that they have data that shows that of the 700 or so thousand registered hunters in the state of Wisconsin, the majority of them do not vote and have not voted in the past 3 election cycles. And Andrea, this is a state where the margin for statewide elections are regularly 20,000 or 30,000 votes. So this is a group that started about 2 years ago, and now they're targeting through a digital ad strategy those non-voting hunters. And I spent some time with the group. I went up to the farm, got to see what they do, and get a sense of why those folks aren't voting and what they're doing to try to change that. Listen to some of those conversations.
We get up in the morning at 4 a.m. to go sit in the deer stand, and it's like peace, just a little heaven on earth. And we're, I don't want to say too lazy, but we just don't think our vote matters.
It's apathy, Shaq. They don't see the value of going out and voting because they're just one person. Or the politicians that they hear on the TV don't match their values, and so they just don't see it as a necessary thing to go out and vote. And again, we know that there are hundreds of thousands of them, millions of them across the country who aren't voting, and sitting out these elections is jeopardizing our lifestyle.
You hear the president of the group there mentioning the fact that there are millions of these kind of non-voters across the country. There are about 15 million registered hunters across the country, and that's why they're focusing their efforts not just on Wisconsin, but states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia, all high hunting population states where they say they believe they can make a difference if they get their folks to turn out. I think, Andrea, it's a sense that it's not just conservative groups doing this. We have liberal groups doing this as well, and it's a sign that with just 2 weeks to go until Election Day, the focus right now is on turning out voters, even those who don't typically come out to vote, especially in midterm election years, Andrea.
So basically, Ted, when we founded hunternation.org and then ultimately huntthevote.org, the whole idea was that good people, hunters, fishermen, conservationists were not voting in numbers that they should. We knew that they had conservative God, family, country principles, and we wanted to get them out to vote. What people are realizing right now, Ted, in some of these critical elections, like in the states that you and I have talked about many times, Wisconsin, 325,000 non-participating hunters, Pennsylvania, 616,000 non-participating hunters, Georgia, a high number as well. These are all critically watched elections right now. Obviously, Ted, with MSNBC running the piece that the conservative group Hunt the Vote is doing a stellar job of getting hunters out. That's a compliment. They fear what we're doing here, and especially what you're doing. And they realize that if hunters go out and vote in the numbers that they're capable of, the pendulum will swing this next Tuesday. What's your take?
Well, once again, I've spent my last 50 years in the wonderful fire-breathing rock and roll celebration of my musical Detroit Motown muscle funk brother career. Whenever I do an interview, and has there been hundreds of thousands of interviews I've done? I think so. And we're talking the New York Times Sunday magazine, the London Times Sunday magazine. We're talking Tucker Carlson. We're talking Piers Morgan. We're talking CNN. We're talking ABC and NBC and CBS. We're talking interviews nonstop for 50 years. I have always promoted and celebrated the perfection of hands-on conservation, resource stewardship, lifestyle, and responsibility. And then next to that, and of course with the Second Amendment rights, even though Second Amendment has nothing to do with hunting, it's about never letting a King George take over again, Joe. Apathy. Apathy is worse than any vicious, negative, evil force, because apathy bends over and lets evil propagate. So we started huntthevote.org and Hunter Nation because I've shared so many campfires every year for 50 years. And I found out, as you and I discovered when Donald Trump told us backstage in Detroit that they don't care what hunters do because hunters don't vote. And you and I were aghast. How can that be? I've been a political activist. I'm a guitar player, but I qualify as we the people. I dare to experiment in self-government and hold elected employees constitutionally accountable. Well, that's radical, you think? And we discovered an embarrassing suicidal percentage of hunting families do not participate in this sacred, blood and guts paid for experiment in self-government. Freedom is not free. And all those warriors of the military ask is for us to vote God, family, country, Constitution, Bill of Rights, 10 Commandments, Golden Rule, law and order, being the best that you can be. So huntthevote.org. Please, everybody. We don't need to defend hunting or the Second Amendment. We need to promote it and celebrate it. And the ultimate way to ensure it for our future is to vote. Huntthevote.org and hunternation.org. So I have wallpaper and carpet bobbed the media around the globe promoting hunternation.org and huntthevote.org. I'm sure you've witnessed it on radio and podcasts and TV and print and writings. And I mean, I'm doing it all the time because I saw where the haters on the left had total control of the media. So the little old guitar player from Detroit, I fought back, and I've awoken people to a great degree, and I want to thank everybody for re-engaging in this sacred life and death, freedom determining experiment in self-government by registering and voting. Thank you very much. Now get everybody in your family and friends at workplace, at the church, at school, at the deer camp, at the bowling alley, at the barbecue. Get everybody you know if I'm not into politics. As an American, you have to be into politics. The politics is the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. You have to fight for that. Guys died for you to do so. Huntthevote.org.
Perfect. Ted, tomorrow night, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the critical issues that are going on. I want to get your take on the original Get Out the Vote with the Rock the Vote and the celebrities that were involved in that, tie that back into a little more talk about huntthevote.org. Tomorrow night, right here on the Nightly News, where there is absolutely no fake news. See you tomorrow night, Ted.